Now we have our good friend Cheryl Rosenthal here from the Oshkosh Area Humane Society, and she's going to tell us about some of the updates that we might want to know about for our pets, as well as some of the things that they've been up to over at the Humane Society. So Cheryl, welcome to the studio, and thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a very cold day out there.
It's a very cold day today, and it's a great opportunity for you to give us some great information to keep in mind during this cold weather season.
It's really important that people think about their pets when we have this weather. I think a lot of times people think, oh, well, my cat or my dog, they have a fur coat, you know, they're fine. And the truth of the matter is, Emily, they're not. They're not fine. I have the extreme at my house. I have one big dog who's woolly and has lots of fur, and he goes outside on days like today, and he's fine walking around for a while. But even for him, eventually, you know, after about 5-10 minutes, I see him doing the paw dance. That's what we call it at our house. And then we have another dog who has very little hair. He's very short-haired. He has upright ears. So it's important to really pay attention to your pets when we have weather like this. Even though they do have a fur coat, unless your dog is spending all of its life outside, a lot of our indoor pets haven't had the opportunity to grow a winter coat. They don't have a winter coat. Yes, they shed more, but they don't really get that woolly undercoat that they would get if they were outside year-round. The other thing is that just like you and I can get frostbite, so can our pets. They can get frostbite on their nose, their ears, and their paw pads. So it's really important when we have days like this. Yes, you want your pets to exercise, but short walks, short little stints outside, then come back in the house and warm up. If you have a dog that lives outside, is kenneled outside year-round, on days like today and where it's even going to be colder tomorrow, bring those pets inside. Not necessarily in the house proper. If the dog is used to being outside, maybe in the garage or in the basement. Here again, if you and I bundled up and put on a snowmobile suit and we put on heavy boots and our hats and really bundled up, we would be fine outside. But I want people to think about when you're outside, what are you doing? You're probably snowshoeing or skiing or sliding or you're moving around. Imagine if just go outside and sit on a bench and just sit there. And eventually, because you're not moving, you're going to get cold.
Exactly.
So even though your pet has a fur coat, they are going to get cold. For the animal that stays outside, make sure that that doghouse isn't too big. Wood is best. Plastic is plastic. I mean, it's almost like having metal. It doesn't hold the heat. The doghouse should be just big enough for the dog to stand up and turn around in.
Okay.
Because if it's too big, it's like you and I trying to heat up, you know, the room with our own body heat. So when they have just a smaller area, they can produce enough heat so that it surrounds them. Also, no blankets. Instead of blankets, we always say, oh, give the dog blankets. If their feet are wet and then it gets warm and the snow melts, then the blankets are wet and they don't conduct any heat. So the best thing to do is straw. Straw wicks water away, and it also generates heat. When it has body heat, then it generates more heat. So straw, not hay, straw.
Okay.
So
I'm learning so much.
So those are things. Water for your pets outside. Make sure that they have plenty of fresh water, unfrozen water. But of course, the best thing to do when we have these extremes is to make sure that we bring our pets inside. Cats that are outside. Sometimes we have neighborhoods that have stray cats, or we have wild cats that live in our neighborhoods or out in the country. Provide fresh water for them. Dogs and cats in cold weather need more food, just like you and I. We burn more energy because our body is trying to heat. So are our pets, so they need to stay warm. So feed them a little bit more and make sure that they're getting water.
And you brought an example.
Yes. Don't want to forget, cats like to crawl onto car engines because they're warm. So before you start your car, if you think you have cats in your neighborhood, pound on the hood of your car. Make a lot of noise. Try to get, if there is somebody under the hood, they're going to, you know, scatter.
Yeah.
This is a cat house for wild cats or feral cats that may be living in your neighborhood, or maybe you have a cat you can't catch, but you worry about it being out in the cold. This is a typical storage container, and what we've done is we've cut a hole in the side with a flap. We have it taped shut for now when it's not being used. Then in the front we have another one, and the reason for the tape is it's holding the insulation. And when you take the cover off, and this is important because it makes this easy to clean, inside there's a piece of insulation, and then all around the sides well, we don't want to tip it that way. Let's spin it around because we'll have straw all over. You have insulation cut to fit right inside this plastic bin, and then you fill it with straw.
Okay.
And there's 2 entrances, and the reason there's 2 entrances is if you have a colony of cats, if somebody comes in the front door and there's already somebody in there, they need to be able to exit. Maybe they're not friends. If they're friends, maybe they'll cuddle up together, but if they're not, you know that they have an escape route. Placement of this is very important. You're not going to set this in the middle of your yard. You're going to put it like behind the garage, or maybe if you have a deck, put it under the deck, someplace where these animals can find warmth. I know sometimes people are concerned that if they do something like this, they're going to get raccoons or possums. They're not looking for permanent housing. They may go in and investigate and then leave.
Okay.
So these are some really important things for us to remember.
So things like this, it's pretty cost effective too.
Yes, it's very inexpensive.
You don't have to go out and buy the state-of-the-art dog house, cat house.
Exactly. If somebody wants to learn how to make these, they can Google feral cat housing, and there are several YouTube videos that show you how to do this, also on the ASPCA website. And I have to be honest, I'm not sure if we have a link on our website to anything like this. But if you call us, we certainly can help you learn how to make these, or you can come in and we can show you one, and then you can build your own. This is great for farmers also that have barn cats, and maybe they're in an unheated area and they want to provide a little bit more comfort for them. Something very easy to assemble, and something you can leave it out there all year. Or
Not
you
a
can
lot of
bring
maintenance
it in.
involved.
No.
Yeah.
You just want to freshen up if you're putting food out there, but a lot of cats, they're just looking for a place to rest and get warm.
Right.
So you're not necessarily going to be putting food and water in there.
Excellent. Well, wow, great information, Cheryl. Thank you for sharing that with us. And it's so timely with the weather, not only now, but for the next few months. It's a tough time
it really
for it
is
to be
a
little
hard
animal
time
out there.
And we think about, we'll let the dog out, and I'm fortunate if I let my dogs out, they run around the yard, and if I'm not out there right away, I usually run, this is terrible, I run out without a coat, then while they're doing their business, I run back in and get a coat, and if I'm gone too long, they're barking to come back in and doing this. So very important to remember that when you see them shivering, when you see them picking up their feet, they're uncomfortable. And salt, I forgot about salt. Be careful when you're walking. A lot of people use sidewalk salt, so if you take your dog for walks, whether they're short walks during the cold, when you get them back in the house, wipe off their feet. Otherwise, they're going to be licking their feet and ingesting that salt, or if they have cuts on their feet, it can cause problems on their paw pads. So just like you and I wouldn't want to be walking in that in our bare feet, watch for that. And there are salts that you can use that are pet friendly, but you don't know what the person down the street is using. So and also be careful about antifreeze. It tastes like candy to our animals, so if you have a leak, make sure that you're taking care of that in your garage or on your driveway.
Great. Loads of information.
Lots.
Where can we go to find all these great resources from the Oshkosh Area Humane Society?
Just visit our website, and we'll have some of those winter tips on there. And again, just Google winter tips for pets, and you're going to find hundreds of resources. Wonderful. Again, if you're not sure, if you have questions, I don't understand, give us a call or stop in and see us, and we'll help you out.
All right. Well, Cheryl, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your vast knowledge of all these things. It's great to have you, and we look forward to having you again soon.
Thank you.
Oshkosh Today was supported in part by the Friends of OCM. And Aurora Healthcare, 855 Northwest Haven Drive. Set design provided by House of Flowers, 1920 Algoma Boulevard. Oshkosh Today.